I'm going to get started because there is somebody in here at 5 o'clock, and the last 2 times I've been here, we've kind of still been in here. So we're going to try to get done and get out of the way for, I think it's student activities that comes in next. But yeah, welcome to the Prehealth session. I'm Michelle Savoy. I'm the program manager in the Office of Prehealth Studies, which means that I'm pretty much in charge of the pre-health advising here at Baylor. If you're thinking, hey, like, what does pre-health mean? I'm here because it said pre-health and I want to work in healthcare. But here's the areas that we cover. So if you're pre-nursing or communication sciences and disorders, that's a different area that's not covered under pre-health. So you're welcome to hang out with us, but I don't know anything about those areas. So we have 8 pre-professional health areas. The biggest one is pre-med. Who here is planning to be pre-med? Yep. All right, let's see. Do we have any pre-dent? Yay, okay. Pre-physician assistant. Yay, I see a hand. Very excited you're here. And okay, how about pharmacy? Okay, cool, yeah. Optometry? Not yet, okay. It's very similar to the pre-med track, guys. Veterinary. Anybody this time? All right, I think we have like 1 so far, and this is our 4th orientation. So I think we've only had 1 pre-vet come through so far. Physical therapy. Okay, it's usually a pretty big area. And occupational therapy. Cool. All right, so you do see that pre-med is our biggest group of pre-health students here at Baylor. I will not just talk about pre-med, I'll talk a lot about pre-med, but I promise to cover the other areas because you're all equally important, and we really want to serve all of our pre-health students in our community at Baylor. Okay, so what does the pre-health office do? Because you're like, hey, I'm a biology major and I'm pre-med. Why do I talk to you guys? And why wasn't I advised by you? So a lot of you have probably already had your advising session online and been registered for classes, and you had a CASA advisor or a health science studies advisor or university advisement, business school, etc., and you didn't talk to a pre-health advisor. And your advisor might have said, hey, check that with the pre-health office. Well, we're advisors, but we are not your academic advisor of record. So you still have to see whoever's required by your college or major. We're kind of a supplement because pre-med, pre-dent, etc. The pre-health is not a major. It is your pre-professional educational goal, I think, are the proper order of the words that Baylor uses. So you might be like, but I'm health science studies with a pre-med concentration. Yes, but health science studies is your major. That pre-med or pre-dent your concentration. Biology, biochemistry, art, theater, music, sociology, whatever it is. Awesome majors. We very much support that. You don't have to just be a biology major or biochemistry major or something like that. So know that we support all those areas of pre-health with your major and your degree. And as it says on the middle bullet point there, we also want you to graduate in 4 years because your parents want you to graduate in 4 years because they don't want to pay 5 years of tuition. Yeah. So parents, we're with you on this. But what do? We're going to support you in getting into that healthcare profession school that you want to attend. There's certain courses that you need to take when you want to go to medical school or dental school. And we have a list of those. So I do have our planners, but I put them on a table out there because then we'll leave the room when we're done and let the next group come in. But we help integrate that pre-health coursework into the classes you need for your major. So say you're a biology major, well, you need to fulfill the requirements for the College of Arts and Sciences, and you need to fulfill the requirements for your major, biology, and then you can graduate. If you don't necessarily take the classes for pre-med, you still can graduate. So we're not there to make sure that you're on track with graduation. We're there to make sure you're on track with those pre-health goals. And your advisor for your major is there to help make sure that you're graduating on time and you're meeting the goals you need to meet there. But we help integrate it. So again, biology majors, not a whole lot to integrate. It's pretty much in your degree plan. You might have a class here or there that you need to go add. But if you're a sociology major, you're going to be adding a lot of biology and chemistry that you may not have had to take with your major. If you're a theater major, you're going to have a lot of stuff to add to your major. But we want you to pick a major that you love. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to be a bio major because it's just the closest thing to the pre-med curriculum. Be a bio major because you love biology. You love studying life science. Be a biology major because it excites you to go to human physiology twice a week for an hour and a half. So don't just pick a major because like, oh, I think it sounds better. Pick something you love and you enjoy, because most majors, I'm not going to say all, but most majors will be able to work with pre-health. You may be taking a couple extra classes. You might be taking a lot of hours. You might be taking a few things over the summer, trying to make sure that you don't have to take 18 hours as a senior or something like that. So we've got you. Don't worry. Don't stress. And your advisors know what they're doing. We send them information. We're in constant communication with the advising offices. They reach out to us when they have a question. So when you saw your advisor on, I'm assuming Zoom or Teams or however they did registration this year, they do know what they're talking about. It's good. You know, we'll answer those questions if you need us, but trust your advisors. Again, we want to make sure you graduate in 4 years. And our maps, our planner, our curricular planning guides, we renamed them last year, are available on our website. I do have them today. Like, they're out on a table on the other side of the wall here so that we will move away from the podium when we're done. But I pulled up our website for you guys to see real quick, in case you'd rather have an electronic version or like you're rushing off to the next thing at 5. So baylor.edu/prehealth is our website. Under programs, I just clicked on pre-medicine. It brings up this, and there's the pre-med planner right there. So do you have to take exactly these courses your first semester? No, because you might have AP credit, you might have dual credit, you might have taken calculus at community college this summer, and so you're thinking, oh, so what I pick? Talk to your advisor, they'll help you put another class you need in that spot, or you're like, hey, I've got to take pre-cal before I can take calculus. Cool, you're just going to shift those maths. You're just going to shift them a little bit, and that's fine. So don't take this as I have to do exactly this in the spot that says. We just laid it out in the most common way that people would take these to get these classes done at the end of 3 years, because you're going to probably apply to med school after your junior year, and your senior year is finishing up the classes you need for your major and for your degree and for applying and going to interviews and everything. So that's why it gets done by 3 years, but you see a list for the pre-med. We have this for all of the 8 areas of pre-health. And again, there are printed copies on a table outside. Let me go back to, and if you have questions or something, like jump up and wave at me, because I start talking really fast and rambling sometimes. But yeah, electronic copies on our website, paper copies outside. Okay, so how do you talk to a pre-health advisor? I've basically said like, hey, you're good, trust your advisor. But sometimes you really do need to talk to one of us, and we very much encourage you to. We have Ask Prehealth. It is our version of open walk-in hours. This picture was taken when we had a study suite in the science building. So you may have heard of the BSB, because you'll have a lot of classes there. It's that giant building right there behind us. That's the BSB, the Baylor Sciences building. That's where the pre-health office is located. And everybody who works for pre-health is located in there except me. I'm in Earl Hall on this side, which is the Science and Health LLC. Ask Prehealth was our way of trying to see more students, because we realized we have students who just have like a quick question. You need 5 minutes. You don't need a 30-minute appointment. And so we were trying to book all these appointments every day for the 3 people in the pre-health office who advise with 4,600 pre-health students. So we started walk-in hours called Ask Prehealth. They've been on Zoom since before the pandemic. Our study suite is now the mass spectrometry lab, which is super exciting. I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool. So our study suite became the mass spectrometry lab, and we moved to Zoom about 2 years ago. And it worked really well because students who didn't have class at that time and weren't on campus and were at home could just call us. Or students walking between classes would just call in from their phone, and we'd get a nice tour of campus while we talked. So it has been on Zoom. I don't know if that's what it's going to look like in the fall. We're still discussing that. It may be hybrid. It may be, hey, some days we're in person, some days we're on Zoom. It may be all on Zoom. It may be all in person. So I'm going to tell you guys right now, don't know exactly how Ask Prehealth will look, but it will exist. And we will put that information out there for you. We'll send it out by email. We'll put it on our website. We'll put it on our social media. And I'll put those up at the very end. That's our last slide with our contact information, so you can see that. You will hear about it. We'll put a flyer in the window of our office, which is right across from the biggest classroom on campus. So you'll walk by our office at some point. We're on the first floor of the BSB. So we'll let you know, but it's been a great way to connect with students who are just like, hey, I just need to ask you a quick question. I just need to know, can I take calculus at community college? And we're like, cool, check the equivalent course tool. And they're like, all right, thanks, bye, and off they go. So it's a good way to connect with a lot of students, for you to get to know who we are and what we do, and see us in person or on Zoom. Again, we'll see how it goes in the fall. It'll probably start in September. We don't usually start the first week of class, because really the first week of class is like, where's my class? I just need to find it, and I need to read my syllabus. So we don't want you panicking the first week of class. Ask Prehealth is never mandatory. It really is, you need to talk to somebody. Here's the times that it's open to come talk to us. And if it's something really deep, like that we need a lot of time to talk about, then we'll set up a one-on-one appointment with you and block out some extra time. Okay, we have some special coursework that is available to our pre-health students. So for all the pre-meds, you have PHP 1105 Foundations of Medicine. This is a class that is going to be required of you if you want to go through the pre-health committee, which I think might be on the next slide. Nope. Okay, it's in a couple slides. We'll talk about it in a couple slides. You probably were registered for it if you've already had, or if you've already had your registration with your advisor. You probably got registered into PHP 1105. Some of you won't be able to take it because your schedule's full or whatever, and that's fine. Take it in the spring. It's offered every semester. Just the fall semester is only for new freshmen. It's a new student experience, and it's only available to new freshmen. And you'll have small groups working with Prehealth Mentors, because it says it's online, which, yes, technically it is, but you'll have small groups where you get to work with some juniors and seniors who have been very successful in the program, and they'll help guide you through. So it's a great class. You're going to talk about, why do you want to be a doctor? What made you make the decision to follow this path? So that's for pre-med students only. It's really not for any other area of pre-health. If you're any other area of pre-health, then we have PHP 1106. It is not required of anybody. So I'm the one who teaches it, and that's why I'm telling you, like, you don't have to take it. But if you want to, I'm very excited to see it. In this, we will explore various health professions. So if you're in here and you're like, hey, I'm pre-PT, but I don't know what an occupational therapist does, and that sounds kind of cool. Maybe I want to be an occupational therapist. 1106 is a great class for you. We have speakers come in from various healthcare professions who are going to tell you about their real life working in that profession. What do they actually do? How does their profession differ from similar professions? How did they get there? What education's required? What coursework's required? How do you get into these professional schools? Depending on the semester, I have different professional schools come talk. So I had Baylor's Doctor of Physical Therapy program come talk, the new occupational therapy program that Baylor has, and then I had a pharmacy school come in and talk last semester. So we had a lot of students who were like, I want to be a physical therapist, I think, but what do I need to do to like get into PT school? So we had a physical therapist come talk, and we had the school talk about admissions. And people said, hey, that was actually really helpful. Now I know what they're looking for. I know where to focus my energy instead of just trying to do everything all at once. So if you're not quite sure which area of healthcare you want to go into, Intro to Health Professions, if you know you are pre-med all the way, nothing's going to stop you, then you need to be in 1105. Your advisor probably already put you in it, and if not, it was probably because it just couldn't fit in your schedule at this point. So don't stress, but pre-meds, you need to take Foundations of Medicine. The other classes are not for freshmen. These are for sophomores, except chapel. So those of you who are pre-med and will be living in Earl Hall, the Science and Health LLC, you might have gotten some information about a program called B3C. It's Biology, Chemistry, Calculus, and Chapel. There's a special section of chapel just for those students. It's in Elliston Chapel, which is like right there on the other side of the wall. It's the pretty little chapel here on the corner across the street. So those students will be in a small cohort. If you are not Earl Hall B3C, I think that will be available to you in the spring. So it's not my program or my chapel, that's why I'm saying I think. But I know they're opening it up to the non-B3C students in the spring. I just don't know if it'll be Earl Hall specific or any pre-health specific. You have to take one semester of big chapel, as we call it, of traditional chapel, but you can do an alternate for one semester. So I encourage you, if that is something you are interested in, Chapel 1090, Faith in the Healing Professions. Student orgs, they are very important as part of your pre-health journey. I think student activities is in here next to talk to you guys about like joining orgs and how exciting they are, because they are, and they're awesome. Great way to connect with Baylor. They are also a great way to get involved in the community, to do volunteering and community service, and to have leadership. Those are all really important things when you go into applying for a professional school. They want good grades, sure, and they want high scores on whatever test you're taking to enter, but they also want to see, did you give back? Did you do volunteering? Do you have leadership roles? Are you a leader or are you a follower? And they want leaders. They want people who know what they want and are going and getting it. So we have all, I'm not going to name all of them, there's just a lot. And anybody who's familiar with Baylor Prehealth is like, yeah, there's a lot of pre-health orgs. So some of them are specific to the area. So SPOTA on the right, kind of in the middle, that's for PT and OT students. I highly recommend if you're a PT or OT that you join this org. They're going to be able to hook you up with a lot of opportunities and connect you to that PT and OT cohort here at Baylor. Let's see, which, PAS is the PA Society, so pre-PA students. There's one just for you. Let's see, APS is the pharmacy, the pre-pharmacy group. I'm trying to remember, we have a lot of orgs, so I'm trying to remember which one's which. ASDA is for the Predental students. And really, these student orgs will welcome you whichever area you're in, but if there's one that's very specific to the area that you want to study, I really recommend joining them. You will have late night. The first Friday, I believe, of class, that night of the Friday night, all the student orgs on campus will be there, and they will all seem super awesome, because they are. But also, you're going to think, I want to join them all. They're amazing. They're so nice, and like they have cool t-shirts, and I want to join them. So, hey, calm down. What I'll say is, for the pre-health students, we highly, highly recommend you join one pre-health org. 2 at the most, but really 1, okay? Because they take time and commitment and energy, and we just don't want you to overdo it. We don't want you to overcommit to 7 different pre-health orgs, or just orgs across the campus, and then realize there's no time anymore to study or sleep. And so start with 1, and if everything goes well, you get a 4.0, and you did all your points for your student org, hey, you probably can handle a second student org. But if it's taking up too much time, then like stick with your 1. These are important. They will help you get community service. They will help you get leadership. So join them, and they have juniors and seniors who have been here and done this and done well. And when you're thinking, I'm just really overwhelmed, chemistry's really hard, they can help you. Somebody higher up in that student org can sit down and be like, I've been there, I know that feeling. Here's some of the things I did to help me get through it. So join 1 pre-health student org, not all of them. And they'll tell you what they do and what they stand for and what their goals are and everything. They're all a little bit different, but they all have some similarities too. We also offer some internship programs. I'm not going to go through all of them just because there's a lot and they're not my programs, but we offer quite a few internship programs. Some of them will be available after your freshman year. Some of them you're going to need organic chemistry or higher up classes, so maybe after junior year. But just be aware of them. We will put that information, it's on our website already, But we will put that information out through Canvas and email and social media when those applications open in the spring. So just something to keep an eye on, to keep thinking about. And if, you're always welcome to go do an internship with back at home for the summer or locally. That's fine, you don't have to go through us. But we do offer some, and we encourage you to consider them and apply. One of them that's very popular is the National School of Tropical Medicine. You may recognize this guy if you watched any news since last March. That's Peter Hotez. He's the Dean of the National School of Tropical Medicine at Baylor College of Medicine. I saw him on CNN 5 or 6 times a day early in the pandemic. They're working on their own vaccine. So he's really fun, and 25 students, they go down to Houston. It's been online for last summer and this summer. It should be back in person next year, which will be really great. We're really excited to start getting things back in person and not have online everything. So that's one of them that's really popular, and that I believe opens in the spring for the application. And then again, the information goes out to your email, social media, our website, etc. Okay, so I mentioned the committee earlier, and I told you I'd get to it, and here it finally is. So this is only for our pre-med and our pre-dent students. It is a letter of recommendation from the committee, which is faculty and staff of Baylor University. There's a list online. I think you can see who we all are. I'm one of the members. And it's a year-long process the year before you're going to apply. So if you're going to apply after junior year, this will start in fall of your junior year, continue through the spring, and you'll have a committee letter by the summer when the application's open. For the pre-dents, good job choosing Baylor, first of all, because the dental schools on their websites, one or two of them that I looked at this summer when I was doing the planners, flat out said, you should go to a university with a pre-med, pre-dent advisory committee. And I was like, awesome, we have one. So yeah, so good job pre-dents. Dental schools really expect you to have this letter. A lot of medical schools also expect you to have this letter. And it's a letter from us in the pre-health office, from the pre-health committee, saying, yeah, we support this student. This student will be a good doctor or a good dentist. We've interviewed them. We have checked all their credentials. We support that. What do you need to go through the committee? You need a 3.3 science and math GPA. So when we get to the slide about what's important for these schools, grades are important. And it's your BCPM GPA, your biology, chemistry, physics, and math GPA. So 3.3 is the minimum GPA to go through the pre-med and pre-dent committee. It's going to help you prepare for the application process. It's a lot of work. This committee is not something that you can just kind of be like, yeah, I guess I'll do it, whatever. It's work, but you will be prepared. When you go to fill out that application in the summer and you pull up the AMCAS or the TMDSAS application and you look at the volume of that thing, be like, oh yeah, my committee packet asked me all this. And when I was interviewed, they pointed out every mistake I made in it, and I've corrected those, and I will have a perfect application with no spelling or grammatical errors in it. We're like, yep, it helps. You also get interviewed by one of the committee members, so it's randomly assigned. Go meet with whoever. You get an email that tells you who your interviewer is. And we set it up like a practice medical school or dental school interview. This year, I did mine on Zoom, other people did them in person, but typically we set up a time and you come in dressed professionally as though you were going to interview. And we ask you questions, and then we give you feedback at the end. I would say everybody on the committees, they're there because they want to help you. They're not there to scare you. They're not there to be mean and point out everything you did wrong. They're really there to support you and help you so that when you go for your interview, you do feel comfortable and you feel confident and you know you've got everything ready. You're ready to go. Schools know that Baylor is hard. They know that our curriculum is very serious, and that if you've come through Baylor, you have the ability to learn a lot and learn it quickly. So they know that Baylor's a good school and you're getting a good education just by being here, and just top it off with a letter that's like, yep, they're awesome. So most people are gonna do this their junior year. That's the whole thing. Like, you don't need to know a lot about it yet. You just need to know it exists and that you need a 3.3 GPA. That's where we'll start from here. You'll learn more about it in the next few years. The mentors. So we have Prehealth Mentors as well. These are juniors and seniors who have done exceptionally well in their pre-health program and are there to help mentor our younger students. It's a lot. Being pre-health here is a lot. And we expect you to perform up here all the time. And sometimes you're going to be like, whoa, I just need a break. This is too much. I hate this. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm burned out. And it helps to go talk to somebody who's like, I've been there. Let me help you. Let me support you. And sometimes it's just, hey, I want to ask about professors. Because I'll tell you, we in the pre-health office will not recommend for or against anybody. All the professors at Baylor are awesome and they're great and you should take them. The mentors might say, hey, what's your learning style? Oh yeah, you definitely want the professor who tests like this or who writes essays like this. But again, we're not going to recommend. I can't stop the students from saying things. But they're good upper level students. They used to be the medical mentors and now it's the pre-health mentors because we are inclusive of all of our areas of pre-health. Those of you who aren't pre-med may feel like the pre-meds have taken over, just the sheer volume of the pre-meds, but we are inclusive, we support all of our pre-health areas. Woo, success in the pre-health programs. That's why you're all here, right? You want to be successful. So, one of those things, you hear sometimes like, oh, it's not about the grades, it's about loving your experience. I want you to be happy here. I want you to enjoy your time at Baylor, and you will, because it's awesome. But also, if you want to go to a healthcare professions school, you're going to have good grades. And there's no way around that. Someone else was giving this presentation last week, and I'm sorry for you guys that you got me. Like, he's way more entertaining than I am. But he was like, I challenge all of you to get a 4.0. That should be your goal for your first semester. Hey, I set that goal. But if you don't get the 4.0, the journey is not over. So I want to make that really clear that strive for the A's, especially in the science classes, but if you don't get a 4.0 your first semester, the med schools don't just cross you off. So if you really struggle and have a very disappointing GPA, then it's time to say, hey, I need to change up my strategies. It's not, what I'm doing isn't working. I need to go get help. I'll talk to the pre-health office. I'll go to the tutoring center. I'll get a mentor who can help me devise some strategies. Maybe I don't take as many hours in the spring, things like that. So just know that, yeah, a competitive grade point average is important when you're looking at going to medical school, dental school, PT school, etc. A question that I get a lot is, well, what's a competitive GPA? So I'm going to go with med school because that's the statistics I looked up last night. Because yesterday when somebody asked me, I went, I haven't looked at the latest data and I need to do that. So I'm looking at Texas medical schools, because a lot of y'all are Texans. Texas medical schools for the entry year 2020, which is the latest data we have. The students who got accepted, not the applicants, but the accepted average is a 3.8 overall GPA for Texas med schools. And I saw a lot of people just go, what? Hey, it's okay. For every 4.0, there's a 3.6. And people are still going, that's really high. Yeah. It's very competitive. And so one of the things I'll do now that you all look really sad is tell you, your timeline does not have to be the same timeline as everybody else. You can take classes in the order that works for you. You can take the number of hours that works for you. Again, graduating 4 years, your parents aren't paying for any more. But you don't have to rush through it in 3 years. You can choose that gap year where you still graduate at exactly the same time, but maybe you stretched out that science into 4 years instead of 3 years. Maybe you weren't ready to take the MCAT spring of your junior year, and you went, I'm not putting myself through this. It's an 8-hour test. Like, I'm not putting myself through 8 hours on a Saturday taking this horrible test if I'm not ready. That's fine. Hey, you're planning. I'm a fan of the intentional gap year because you said, no, I know what I'm doing. Here's my plan. Here's my schedule. I've got this. So it's a lot. There are, yes, people get in with lower GPAs because they're exceptional in a different area as well. So again, do not cross everything off if you don't come out of your first semester with a 3.8 GPA. You have 7 other semesters after that. So that's where I usually sit and talk with students when they come into my office and they're crying. So I get a lot of crying people in my office. I have candy and I have stress balls. All right? Come get some light. Come eat your feelings and squeeze our little stress bears that we have in the pre-health office. They're little doctor bears. And I sit down and I say, okay, what's the problem? Well, I had a bad semester. Okay, let's go over what happened. Have you figured out, yeah, I know exactly what I did. I didn't prepare for the first test and I never recovered. Hey, but you know what? Are you gonna do that again? Nope. Okay, that was one class. I get a lot of this too. I got a B in a class and it's over. I'm like, you need 124 hours to graduate, and that class was 3 hours out of 124 hours. So a lot of times we're just looking at perspective. So again, don't beat yourself up when you don't get an A. Don't beat yourself up when you don't have a perfect 4.0. Know that those grades are going to be important and they're going to matter, but they are not everything, okay? If you're doing your best, I'm really proud of you. And I know your parents are too, and they miss you, and you definitely need to call them more, okay? All right, there are the standardized tests, so the pre-meds know the MCAT, the DAT for the dental students. You need to do well, and I've had students come in at orientation go, how can I start preparing for the MCAT? I'm like, whew, okay. Like, class doesn't start for like 2 more months. But just taking the science classes that you're going to be taking, you're already starting to prepare. If you want to go get an MCAT prep guide and look at it, go for it. If you want to form a study group and make some friends that you guys all get together and start studying for whatever your standardized test is, cool, like do it. But know that you don't have to start your Saturday 8-hour prep freshman year. It's okay. Take biology, take chemistry, learn them well. Everything's going to build on those. And again, taking advantage of the pre-health office. Hi, we're here. We exist. Talk to us. Follow the planners that we have. Talk to your advisor. I'm a huge fan of the tutoring center. Go to tutoring. I don't know if they had a session or not, but I had them talk to one of my other classes one time, and they're like, most of the people who come to tutoring are students earning a B who want to get an A. It's not the students who are failing. It's the really good students who are going, I can do better. I'm not happy with the B. I'm going to get help. So go use that. But also you need some professional experiences in healthcare. It is not enough to just have a great GPA and a great MCAT or DAT or whatever test you're taking. You need shadowing, you need volunteering, you need work experience. How do you get that? Shadowing's been really tough for the past 1.5 years. Most people haven't been able to get into a doctor's office or to a hospital because it wasn't safe. And as aspiring healthcare professionals, you understand that. You wouldn't ever want to put anybody at risk so that you could have a benefit. You want to make sure that everybody is having the best care available. So if you shadowed in high school, which a lot of people have, those hours aren't going to count. But the day you graduated high school, you are a college student, so anything you're doing this summer can count. Also, if you shadowed in high school, you've got connections. You know physicians who are going to let you come shadow them. Use those connections. Call your dentist, call your doctor, call your PT, OT, whatever, and see if they'll let you come in and shadow, because you need to know what healthcare professionals do in real life. You need to know that it is not like Grey's Anatomy. And I pick on Grey's Anatomy. If you are a fan of Grey's Anatomy, I mean absolutely no offense. I'm sure it is a very entertaining show. But they'd all be in jail with no medical licenses. So I've had more than one student write essays in my class that they want to be a doctor because they were inspired by a certain character on Grey's Anatomy, and that's their role model. And I'm like, I'm glad it got you interested in healthcare, but also don't do any of the stuff they did, ever. It is not ethical. But again, very entertaining. If it got you interested in healthcare, that's exciting. But you need to see what real life physicians or dentists or PTs, OTs, optometrists, pharmacists do, and what their real day-to-day life is, because for most of them, it's not that dramatic. Volunteering, need to be working, volunteering, community service, that's where the orgs are going to help you. That they've already got the hookup. You do not need to just wander through Waco looking for somewhere to volunteer. If you join one of the student organizations, they've already got the setup at a lot of different places in town, and you can be like, oh, I like kids. I'll go volunteer with whichever group goes over and takes care of children. And oh no, I really like this or that. And they've got these options. So that's another reason we're saying, like, join the orgs. And some work experience. So if you're an EMT or you're a pharmacy tech or a CNA, awesome, keep doing that. It's getting you that contact hour and that healthcare experience. And these are professional jobs. You have to be professional. You have to be mature to have these jobs. And medical schools, dental schools, all these schools value maturity. They do not want a little kid coming in. They want somebody who says, I understand patient confidentiality, I am professional, I am mature, I've got this. That's what they want, and you can get that through some of these jobs. Scribing is also a good way to do it while you take notes for the doctor. And and most of those jobs, like, they pay you, and that's exciting too. So, hey, I'm learning about this, but also I'm getting a paycheck. Always exciting. We have reached the end of the slides. Contacting us. We're in the science building, which is, again, giant building behind me. We're on the first floor in B111. We're right across the hall from the biggest classroom on campus, B110. Our website, baylor.edu/prehealth, has a lot of information for you about the pre-health programs, the classes you should take, the services we offer, a list of our student orgs, the Prehealth Mentors, etc., etc., etc. We also have an FAQ section because we realized we were getting, like, the same questions over and over emailed into us, so we tried to put them together just so that you guys can get quicker responses. When you look through our FAQ, you can email us if you need something, prehealth@baylor.edu. I will caution that there is some lag in the turnaround time right now. We don't have many. We have, I think, one student worker for the summer who doesn't work every day and then has to forward them off to us. And instead of checking email right now, I am here with all of you. So, and then I have to drive home. We also have an Instagram, which I just added to our slide, at BU Prehealth. If you follow us, it's not super exciting because I'm the one who runs our Instagram, and I am neither fun nor exciting. So I'm trying to make it more interesting. But if you follow us, that's where we post things like our scholarship application. We offer scholarships. That's one of our big questions. Yes, the Prehealth office does offer some scholarships. They are only for juniors and seniors because those are the restrictions placed by the donors. So not for freshmen or sophomores, but once you have junior or senior level hours, then you can apply for our scholarships, and our committee will consider you for them. We gave away about $90,000 last year, and we're just really excited because we had about 30 or 40 recipients. And so we usually honor them at symposium, which we didn't do because it was virtual this year, but hopefully when we're back in person, you'll get to see our scholarship recipients and see what it took to really come up to that top where we noticed them and wanted to just give them money. So we're really excited. We're always trying to increase the scholarship amount. We're always trying to make sure that we can help out the students that we can. But again, juniors and seniors. So sorry, see you in 2 years for that. But yeah, that's where we announce the scholarship application. That's where we'll announce different programs that we're putting on, workshops, different things that our office is doing. So I know people check Instagram probably more than you check your email. Also check your Baylor email. I feel like every session just needs to remind you, check your Baylor email all the time. But yeah, I know y'all are checking Instagram more than you're checking your email. So thank you for coming.